Hi, my name's Jessica Flowers. Welcome to Smell the Flowers Yoga. Today I'm going to be guiding you through a gentle yin practice. And for this practice, you may want a few blocks or a blanket, potentially a bolster if you have them. But you actually don't need any of those things. So just kind of see, you might go through the practice one time and you may notice like, oh, I would have liked a little more support there, a little more padding here. So you can always pause, go grab a pillow or a blanket, some books even if you don't have yoga blocks, and then come back to the practice. So that's the great thing about doing these recorded practices. You can always pause. So, and like I said, I'll be guiding you through a yin practice. If you're not familiar, yin practices are slower than more flowing type classes. We typically will hold the poses for a few minutes, but not to worry. In yin yoga, you actually are going to let go of most of your muscular effort, and this really allows your connective tissues to soften and relax, and that's really what we want to get at with yin yoga. It's not for building strength necessarily, but it is, it can be strengthening for the bones, but it's more for the connective tissue and fascia systems in your body, as well as energetic movement through the body. And the practice is very nourishing for your body and calming to the nervous system. So today's practice, we're going to start out just on our seat. So for that, you might want to prop your hips up. You could always sit on a bolster or a block. Sometimes I just take a folded blanket for a little padding. So find what works for you. Coming into your seat, get nice and grounded, settling your sitting bones down into the earth. Settle your shoulders back and down. Sit with a nice tall spine, bringing the crown of your head up towards the sky. And just begin to notice your breath. You might soften or close your eyes. I oftentimes like to put one hand on my belly, one hand over my heart. As you breathe in, you can feel the sensation of your breath moving your body. Even in stillness, we always have this little bit of movement. You can really tune in to your heart beating. Just getting that sense of your aliveness. And then we're going to move slightly from here, coming into butterfly pose. So you can keep your hips propped up. We're going to bring the soles of your feet together and knees will open and fall out wide. Now you can play around with this and see what feels good for your feet. You might want them a little bit further out. You can try having them pulled in closer. For this, you may want a couple of blocks. You can put those under your thighs, maybe even under your thigh and your shin, kind of propping up for a little additional support. Or you could even take a blanket and roll it over the top of your ankles and around your shins. I really like to do that sometimes too, especially if you have any pain. I used to have a lot of chronic pain, so even having blocks like this, when I was having pain, that would feel like I had bruises all over my body sometimes, and just even having blocks like this could be painful. So just always check in with yourself and try out these different options to see what feels good for you. You want to be able to feel some sensation in the poses, but be as comfortable as possible so that you can really calm and relax your nervous system as well. And just start to notice from your butterfly where you're at today. You may begin to fold forward if that feels good for your body. Here, I often, if I'm not using the blocks under my legs, you could build a little tower to bring your forehead down onto. Or simply, I like to fold my elbows, have my elbows resting on my shins, and then you could just rest your forehead on the back of the palms of your hands. Today's practice, we're going to be working the spine, so we'll be doing kind of moving the spine in all the different directions, as well as working with this theme of being a butterfly. We're going to kind of deconstruct our butterfly, come back into our caterpillar and cocooning a little bit, and then we'll come back out re-emerged as a new butterfly at the end of our practice. Just take a few more breaths here. And then as you inhale, bring your upper body back up. You can take your hands on the outside of your knees and just gently fold your legs back together. You might take your hands back behind you, just lean back a little bit and let your knees rock from side to side. Next, we're going to come into half butterfly pose. And I'm just going to turn to the side, a little different view. So you can have your right leg stretched out long, and the sole of your left foot is going to come to the inside of your right thigh. Your right leg can be a little bit off from center, kind of pointed towards that front corner of your mat. And then just inhale, get nice and tall through your spine. You're going to turn towards your right leg. And then as you exhale, begin to fold forward over your leg. You can flex your right toes. Just feeling the sensation along the back of your leg, the opening and the softening of the connective tissue there. You may bring your blocks in and create a little tower to bring your forehead onto. And it's okay to have a soft bend in your knee. You don't want your knee super pressing down to the mat. Just scan your body, see if there's areas you're holding tension that you can relax. Your shoulders, your jaw. about 1 more minute here. You might just check in and see if your body has relaxed a little bit. You might be able to come a little bit further down towards your leg. Take about 3 more breaths here. And then bring in a little more energy, press into your hands, and walk back up towards center. Now you're going to take your right leg and bring it a little more straight coming out from your right hip. You might rock your hips from side to side a little bit, regrounding there. And then you're going to take your left leg and bring it over the top of your right. So your knees are kind of stacked one on top of the other, coming into half shoelace pose. If you have a big gap here and that feels like that leg's just hanging out in space, it's going to be hard to relax, you could take a block or a towel or a blanket or something there just to fill that gap. You can have your left ankle flexed as well, particularly if you have any discomfort in your knee. Keeping your ankle flexed can help with that. Again here, today we're just going to fold forward, or actually we're going to do a twist with this one. I forgot what I was doing. There's so many different things you can do with shoelace. I like to do equal arms sometimes. But today we're going to, like I said, we're going to work through the spine and moving it in all of these different orientations. So we're going to come into a twist with this shoelace. You can take your left hand and just place it behind your left hip, and then your right arm is going to come across your left thigh. So you're going to turn to the left, inhaling, maintaining a nice long spine. And as you exhale, maybe you turn a little bit further and look over your left shoulder. Just kind of looking back to the past. What things have brought you to where you are today. We oftentimes like to label our experiences as good or bad, negative or positive. See if instead you can just acknowledge those experiences and all that they taught you, and that they shaped you and brought you to where you are today, here in the present. Just taking about 3 more breaths here. And releasing your arms, turning back to center. You can uncross your left leg, just send both legs out long, and you might bounce your legs up and down a little bit, or maybe let your feet and legs rock from side to side. You might want to readjust your sitting bones. You're going to come into a forward fold from here. Just getting nice and balanced on your sitting bones. Now for forward folds, there's many different ways that you can do this. I oftentimes like to come in and out of the pose a few times before staying because forward folds can be a little more intense, particularly for your back. So if you just kind of come in and out of it, you can gauge how your body's feeling today. And also, if you take it nice and slow, I think it's a little easier for your body to accept that you're going to listen to it and be gentle with it. So there's different ways. I oftentimes like to just slide my hands down my legs. It's just a nice way to get the sensation of that touch and being in your body or embodying yourself. You can exhale as you fold forward. Inhale, back up. If you have a lot of energy, you might make this even bigger. You could bring your arms up overhead and exhale forward. Inhale, back up. And then this next time we'll stay here. So just slowly listening to your body, begin to fold forward. Have a little bend in your knees. As you exhale, you engage your abdominal muscles a little bit. Complete your exhale. And that reciprocal action will help to relax your back muscles a little more. You can always bring a bolster or pillow under your knees here, or a rolled up towel or blanket. Sometimes I like to build a tower with my blocks for a resting place for my forehead. You could bring your toes back in towards your shins, flexing your ankles. Noticing how that changes the sensation in the back of your legs. This is one of those postures where sometimes my inner critic speaks up and tells me about how tight my hamstrings are or my low back. Just see if you can replace that with kindness and compassion. Compassion for where you're at today. This forward fold in Yin Yoga is called caterpillar pose. So you can think about the caterpillar and the butterfly, the potential to become a butterfly that it has inside of it. Just like you have the potential for your hopes and your dreams. Will you choose to stay as the caterpillar, or will you make your cocoon and let those dreams come to fruition? On your next inhale, you can begin to walk your hands back towards your body. We're going to come onto our back here and just do a little stretch for the back before we come up and do the other side and sort of rebuild back into our butterfly. So coming onto your back, just start out by bringing your knees up off the floor, and we're just going to do a little bit of moving the legs with our breath. So just start by taking a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, just let your knees draw in towards your chest. As you inhale, let them float back away. Exhale, drawing them in. Inhale, floating them back out. You might notice what's going on with your back as you do this gentle movement with your breath. Exhaling, engaging your abdominal muscles, relaxing your back. As you inhale and your knees draw away, you may notice your back muscles get engaged a little and lift off the floor. As you exhale, they relax and go into the ground a little more. Really nice massage for the low back. And then you can set both feet back down on the mat. We're going to do a little bit of work on our backs here, starting with your, let's think about this. Yeah. We're going to start with our left leg, bringing your left leg up towards the ceiling. You can clasp your hands and bring them behind your left leg for a little extra support. If you have a strap too, this is a nice place to put a strap over the ball of your foot, or you can just use your hands to help hold your leg up there. And when you're here, you could point and flex your toes a little bit. You can circle your ankle. Maybe a few times one direction and then the other. And then just stay here, getting a nice stretch along the back of your leg. You can send your right leg out long if you like. Just explore that. If you don't like it, you can always bring that foot back up. Take about 3 more breaths here. Then you can release your hands, draw that knee back in. Maybe do a little rocking side to side or rolling it around a little bit. Getting the juices moving through your hip joint. And then you can take your right hand on the outside of your left leg, and you're just going to use that hand to draw your leg across your body. You may want to bring a block to your right side or a rolled up blanket or something like that, so you have a place for your knee to land as you roll onto your right side. See if you can have that left knee come to rest on something. If you don't have anything over there, you could always take your right leg and bend it up so your right knee is under your left leg. Let's see, explore doing this twist with your left leg bent and your right leg long. And then just wiggle your shoulders a little bit. See if you can get both shoulders down onto the mat. If your left shoulder doesn't get all the way down, you could bring your hand in and rest it on your side. You could try having your arms out to a T, looking over your left shoulder. Or you could even try, I like doing the twist this way sometimes, taking that left arm and just kind of draping it over your left ear. Kind of get the stretch going all along this whole left side of your body. If you had your left arm up overhead, you might bring that back down, and then you're just going to gently roll back onto your back. You might bring both soles of your feet up to the mat again. Just draw your knees in and maybe do a little gentle rocking side to side. Do some circles. And then you can set your left foot down on the mat. We're going to bring our right leg up, your foot up towards the ceiling. Your hands can come behind your thigh, or if you have a strap, you might put that over the ball of your foot. You can point and flex your toe here and get a little movement through your ankle joint. Maybe doing some circles. Eventually finding some stillness. Then you have the option to explore sending your left leg out long. A few more breaths here, just noticing the different sensations along the back of your legs. And then releasing your hands, drawing your right knee in. If you haven't already, you could send your left leg out long. Just do some gentle movements with your right knee. You're pulling it in and out, doing some circles. And loosening up that joint. And then if you had a block or a blanket or something over on your right side, you might move that over to your left. And you're going to take your left hand on your right leg and just gently pull your right leg across your body, coming onto your left side. Settling in with your leg. You could stack your legs if you want, or keep your left leg long. Just have your right leg bent. And settle your shoulders back down into the earth. Maybe opening your arms up to a T. And turning, looking down towards your right fingers. Or you could try stretching that arm up overhead. Draping it across your right ear. Get about 3 more breaths here. And then bringing your right arm down. If you had it up overhead, just roll onto your back. You can take any movements here that would feel good. You might stretch both legs out long. Bring your arms up overhead. Come into a full body stretch. And then we're going to do Bananasana. We're going to make ourselves into little bananas to get our side flexion in for our spine. So you can take both arms up overhead to start nice and center, and then just walk your hands over towards the right corner of your mat. You can walk your ankles over to the right corner of your mat. You might take your left wrist and hold it in the palm of your right hand. And you could cross your left ankle over your right, but just be mindful. I don't always like that. It sometimes kind of throws off my sacroiliac joint a little bit, so I like to keep both heels on the ground. But you can explore and see what works for your body. And just taking this nice stretch, opening up through the left side of your body. As you breathe in, feel the left lung nice and full of air, creating a little more space around your heart, your spleen, and your stomach. Take a few more nice deep breaths here. And then walking your shoulders and your feet back to center. You could do another nice long full body stretch. It might feel good to bring your knees in for a little moment, a little rocking. And then coming out back nice and long. We're just going to do that stretch, walking our shoulders over towards the left corner of the mat and the heels over to the left as well. Opening up through the right side of your body. You might hold your right wrist in your left palm. Breathing deeply into your right lung. Creating a little more space around your liver. A few more deep breaths on this side. Imagining your caterpillar transforming into a butterfly, almost ready to leave your cocoon. And releasing your arms, coming back to center, and draw your knees in here. You do a little rocking from side to side. And then just let your knees come all the way over onto one side. Using your hands, pressing yourself back upright. We're going to rebuild our butterfly. Coming to the other side. So you're going to stretch your left leg out long. And you can bring it a little over to the left corner of your mat. Bring your sole of your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Coming into your half butterfly. Inhale, get nice and long through your spine. And turn your upper body towards your left leg. And as you exhale, you're going to fold forward over your leg. And here you have the option to, you can do a little bit of sliding. Or if you still have a lot of energy, you could do your arms up on your inhale and as you exhale, folding forward. And then eventually we're going to stay folded over that long left leg. A little soft bend in your knee. Always bring a block in for a little support for your forehead if it doesn't come to your knee. Just bend your knee a little bit more. Just taking this opportunity to look inward. What hopes and dreams do you have that you'd like to emerge? Just like the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. a few more breaths here. And as you inhale, begin to lift your head and walk your hands back in towards your body. Take that left leg a little more center, coming right out from your hip. You're going to take your right leg and cross it over your left, coming into half shoelace again with the twist. So you're going to take your right hand, place it by your right hip. Sometimes it might be nice to put your hand on a block there for a little more length through your spine. And then your left arm, you're just going to drape it across your right thigh, turning to the right. And just be gentle with your spine. You don't need to use your arm like a crowbar. Just help it to support you in the twist. As you inhale, getting a little taller through your spine. As you exhale, maybe you turn and look over your right shoulder a little bit more. Just maybe taking a moment to have gratitude for those past lessons that life has taught you. It brought you to this moment. Taking some time for compassion and care for yourself. Often we have to struggle a bit before we come to this place of putting ourselves and our own health and needs before those of others. And you can release your arms and unwrap your leg. You might do a little bouncing with your legs or rocking from side to side. Next, we're going to come back onto our backs for a little bit of a gentle back bend. You can keep the soles of your feet on the ground, and for this you'll want a block or something to kind of lift up your back a little bit. You could do it over a bolster. It's actually, if you have one of these nice pillow bolsters, you could do this over a bolster or even a stack of blocks. If you have one of these, or books, if you have a block though, you can just press into your feet, you lift your hips up, and just set the block under your sacrum. So you don't want it on the movable part of your spine. You want it across your sacrum where the two halves of the back of your pelvis come together. I like to keep the block in this wide position so that offers support across your sacrum, so that the block is touching both halves of the pelvis. You can start with it in this lowest setting, or maybe bring it up to the medium height. You could try the highest setting if you like, but that, for my sacrum, I don't get that support across both halves of the pelvis. So if you are working for more of a back bend, more of an inversion here, you could always stack a few blocks on top of each other, or more books or things like that. Just relax your shoulders. Maybe turn your palms up towards the sky. And just let your body sink and be supported by the blocks. If you notice any sensations of pressure in your head or your eyes, just come out of the inversion. You can just lay in comfortable rest with your back flat on the ground. Let your knees fall in towards each other. Sometimes even gentle inversions like this, where our head is below our hips, can put that extra pressure in the head that may not be good if you have like high blood pressure or glaucoma. So just pay attention to the sensations that you're getting from your body. You can always choose to do something different. Alright, from here you can press your feet into the ground, just lift up your hips so you can take that block out. Bring your back onto the mat. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together here and let the knees fall out wide, coming back into butterfly, reclined this time. So different options here. You can bring your blocks in and have those supporting your knees. You could have a blanket or towels under your legs. And oftentimes this is a nice posture to do if you're wanting to get a little bit more opening through your chest and you have a bolster handy here. You can bring your hips up next to the bolster and lay your upper body over the bolster. Just opening up to this new butterfly that you are. What new hopes and dreams would you like to see this year? You're welcome to stay here in your butterfly pose, but whenever you would like, I also invite you to come into a different posture, whatever is most comfortable for you for your final relaxation. You might send your legs out long, coming into traditional Shavasana. Let your feet fall open to the side, your arms rest comfortably at your side. Your palms turned up towards the ceiling. You have a bolster or rolled blanket under your knees. Or you could keep your knees bent if that feels better for your low back. You're welcome to cover up with a blanket here if you're feeling a little cool. Maybe put a little pillow cover over your eyes. Just letting your whole body relax. Take in the nourishment of these practices and the care that you put into your body. You'll hear my voice again in a few minutes. Begin to deepen your breath as you prepare to reawaken your body. You might bring a little movement into your fingers and your toes, then your wrists and your ankles. You could bring your knees in towards your chest, just giving yourself a nice hug, taking a moment to send some appreciation to yourself for taking the time for your practice today. Appreciation for your body, especially your spine, that we worked a lot today with this practice. And then when you're ready, roll onto your side. Just cradle your head in your arm for a few breaths. Just taking your time to slowly come out of your practice. And then using your hands, you can press into the ground, coming back up to seated. Once you get there, I invite you to join me in bringing your hands out to your sides. Inhaling, scooping up all that positive, loving, healing energy that you cultivated for yourself today. And then bring that energy down into your heart. Bowing to yourself, acknowledging that this light, this love, this positive healing energy is always inside of you for you to tap into. And then we bow to each other, acknowledging that light and love exists in each and every one of us. And the very simple way to acknowledge that light that exists in us all is to say namaste. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope that this practice is meaningful for you and you can take this metaphor of being a butterfly, that you already are a beautiful butterfly, but maybe there's some transformation that you'd like to see happen in this coming year. So you can use this practice to work through that transformation and emerge as that new beautiful butterfly that you'd like to be. Thank you.